Hi everyone, David Maley here, and today I'm answering some requests. So basically I just did a video on graphing and mapping data on the East Coast and southern areas of the United States, and it was furniture sales data. So I had some people ask, well, what about the other side of the world? What about India? Okay, so I'm going to do this for India, the same exact thing. And I want you to understand, you can comment down below and tell me your request. Tell me what you think you would like me to change up or what data you'd like me to do, and I'll be glad to look into it. And if I can do it, or if I have the data available, sure, that could be another video we do on how to do something. Take a moment right now and please subscribe down below and like so that I can, you can keep following me and get my latest videos. But as you see right here on this screen, I'm in RStudio. And on the right, I have a map here, a Google map, which is really cool, of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, and some of those areas. And you'll see most of the data for this is in India. India is probably my second or third largest group of people that watch my videos. Now, that's not the data here. This data here is furniture part sales, so like the different parts they put together for furniture, and it could be anything. I don't know. I'm not the company that does this. It's freely available data that I found on the internet, and it's got data for all over the world. But what I've done here, I want to show you, is I've created this map which has different dots based on sales, and then the size of these dots is based on their transactions, so the level of transactions. So what I've done is I've striated it into 3 different groups of sales and 4 different groups of transactions based on the numbers. So the bigger the dot, the higher the transactions. Then it goes from blue, orange to red. Red is the highest sales, blue is the lowest, and orange is the middle. So you can see insights here as into that some areas have high sales, but the transactions are low, which means they had really high sales, as in more dollars per item. And other areas are the opposite. So you can see areas that are hot spots and areas that are not. So let's go over here and look at the code. So again, this is with ggmap. So if you don't have it, right here you install ggmap just like this. Then here are the libraries. There's 4 libraries I'm using for this. ggmap, tidyverse, Dippler, and readxl. Next, I read in my data, and I'm going to put it into this vector right here. Okay, this is a data frame. I'm reading in my data on international furniture sales right here. So let me bring this over so you can see it better. Let's shrink this a tiny bit here. There we go. And this will automatically resize itself. You got to give it a minute. But what we're looking at here is this is the code for where my exact file is located. You'll also see in the library for readxl, we actually have the location for readxl, and the reason being is, as I've said in many other videos, is it tends to be very picky, and if you don't put the location, it can't find itself, which is kind of annoying. So if you put that in there, it knows exactly where to go to find that, and then you don't have a problem. Once I put that in there, I never have a problem. If I don't do that, I would say 9 times out of 10 I have an issue. So next, what we do is we've created this map data frame, right? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to say, oh, I just want the data for India. So we're going to take with dplyr, this is the filter function. We put map data, comma, and we want it where, so we want this data frame where country equals India. And that now goes into map data. So instead of having, thousands of data locations throughout the world, now we just have India. And if you look over here, it's actually 34 different locations of sales. Okay, next what we do is we go down here to this, and what we're going to do is we're going to combine the state and city in map data into one column. So in map data, because of this field right here, or this data frame, let's take a look at it real quick and I'll show you. Here's map data. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to combine state and city. So Punjab and Amritsar are going to be put into one column instead of 2 because it needs that for geolocation. So what we're going to do is we're going to do right here, in this column right here, we take a tibble, which is a table of the location equals C, and we're creating this data frame called map_locations. And we're going to create a field called location, or a column, and we're going to put in it the data frame column of city, comma, data frame of the province state. Now province state has these little asterisk things, or little comment things here, and the reason being is it's got this divided by symbol here. If you don't put that in there, it'll get confused and try and divide it, okay, and give you an error. So we've got that. We've got the data frame of map locations, and then we need another data frame, but this is a special one. This is the geolocation. So what we're using is the function under ggmap called geocode, and this geocode gives me the data frame map locations, and it puts them in a field or column called location. What this does, it gives me the longitude and latitude, okay? So then what I have to do is I have to put the longitude and latitude from this geo data frame into this data frame. So what we're going to do is use cbind, and we're just putting in the same, so we got map locations, and we're putting in geomap locations. So we're just combining the two. So what that does, it takes the columns from the one and adds them to the other one. So the df map locations right here, data frame map locations, becomes our main data frame with all our data. Next, we're going to create two new columns. So we got sales and transactions. Now I'm not creating new data. This data is already in map data, as we can see right here. Let's take a look at it again. Okay, see how map data has country, so we filtered it down to India, state or province, and city, but it's also got transactions, units, sales, latitude, and longitude. We are looking at these three right here: transactions, units, and sales. So we're not bringing in units. We could have if we wanted to, but we're just bringing in transactions and sales. We could switch it up and bring in units. It doesn't matter. So if we go back here, what I've got is I'm creating two new columns. So this is the actual code that we use right here. I'll highlight it here so you can see. And what we're doing is we're creating one column called sales and one column called transactions in this data frame map underscore locations. And it's just a tibble or a table of sales, and we're bringing in from map data, this one, we're bringing in map data, because it's data frame, you hit the $sign here, sales brings in that column, and it puts it in there correctly. And then same thing with transactions, does the same thing. So that way now, if I go to data frame map locations, that's this guy right here, look at that, we have the location, see how I put it all in one column? Then we got the longitude and latitude, got sales, transactions, okay? Don't worry about this other stuff. Yeah, I'm going to do that next, okay? But we got sales and transactions in there now. So let's go back. Next, what we have to do is we have to build a nested if-else. And the reason being is I want to create the first one is going to be on color. I want three striations. I want three different colors based on sales. So what I've got is this line right here. Let me just uncomment this out. And you can see this if-else. And what this does, it's got this one's actually got two if-elses. So what it's basically saying is, if sales is less than 500,000, make it blue. If sales is less than 1 million, make it orange. And if it's not that, then make it red. And I know because the sales are, I believe it's like 2 to 3 million, something like that. So we could make them different if we wanted to. We could have had more colors. We could do whatever we want here. That's enough for now. I just want to show you how we do it. So you've got two if-elses, and it's very similar in how a if-else works here to Excel. So if you can do an if-else in Excel, you should be able to do this. If you can't, I've got videos on my site. Go look at them on how to do if-else in Excel, and then you'll see once you learn that, this is the exact same, almost the exact same thing. So now let me just comment this out, and let me show you something here. So right below it, once we've built that, I just bring that in and I copy and paste it right here into this. So just like above where you do this tibble and then you put the column name, just like here, just like we did with locations up here when we created that for geolocations. Same thing, all I do is I put the if-else, that nested if-else in here, just like that. And I've got what I need in the color one column, which is going to be red, blue, or orange. So when you looked at that data before, it had those in there. Same thing I'm doing for transactions, but it's got 4 parts to it because I'm doing 4 different levels, right? So the same thing right here, if else, df map locations, transactions, we're looking at the transactions number. If it's less than 7,500, it gets a 1. If it's less than 1,500, it gets a 3. So see now, when you have strings, you put them inside of quotation marks, okay? These are not, they're numbers, so we don't have to do that. So we've got it broken up to less than 7,500, less than 15,000, less than 22,500 gets a 6, and then if it's greater than that, it gets a 9. Okay, we just did a video earlier the other day of doing this with 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they were much smaller, a little bit it depends on how you want to do it. I made it so the sizes are bigger. You can see that in the map over here to the right. So that's how you do that one. So you just copy this one in, same as you did above, into here, right there. Okay, and just make sure you have the right number of parentheses at the end. Okay, count your parentheses as you go through, 1, 2, 3, and make sure they're matching at the end. If they don't, what it's going to do is it's going to try and carry your code down below, and it won't work. Okay, next you can see I already have, here's the North Carolina data I had, or a map that I did where it was just by one variable. This is not one variable, we're doing two, remember, sales and transactions. So you can see right here, this is the important one down below here. And let me highlight this for you so you can see it. Let me bring this a little bit shorter so you can really see it well. And you can see the code right here. So what we're doing is get map. This is under ggmap, okay? So it's called get underscore map. We're bringing the map of India. We're zooming it to a factor of 5, which better shows India throughout the whole map. I could zoom it to 6, 10, whatever I want to do. I can zoom in more, and if the more you zoom in, you'll actually see highways and streets and stuff like that. If you zoom it out, I could see maybe China in here a little bit, and maybe Australia, depending on if I want to see a world map or not. Okay, so zooming, the higher this number is, the more you zoom in. So then you can see I bring in ggmap, and I'm creating points on that. So I'm not just bringing in the map, I'm also putting in gmpoint, which puts in through ggplot, which is through data, or the tidyverse up above. And I'm bringing in, the data is for this df map locations. Okay, that we created earlier. That's right here with all the different columns in it. And then the aesthetics of longitude and latitude. And then what we're doing is we're putting in color based on color 1, which is it'll have in those columns red, blue, or orange. And then the next one is size, the same kind of idea, but we're doing it for transactions 1. So when I built these up right here, color 1 and transactions 1, let me show you what they look like so you can see. We have transactions 1 and color 1. Color 1, remember I told you it's going to be red, blue, or orange. So based on those striations for color is sales. So it goes and looks at this number right here, and then it puts, based on, is it below 500,000, I think it was, and it'll put blue, orange, or red based on that. Okay, transactions 1 instead puts a number 1. Is it a 1, a 3, a 6, or a 9? Let's see if we got a 9 there. There's a 9 right there for Surat. So, and that's based on transactions. Okay, which is this field right here. So we have sales and transactions, and we have these two built off them. And what we're doing is we're making the color and the size of the dot or plot based on that. So let's go back here. So all I need to do is run this one right here. If I wanted to do a single, if I just wanted dots based on color and I didn't care about the size, I could make the size equal to like 3 or 4 or whatever, and then I could use this code right above here and just put map equals in, or map India, and leave the rest the same, and then just put, it's already got the color 1 and size equals to 3. But I want to make it a little bit fancier because you're not going to necessarily pull insights just based on, I mean, you could have insights based on color because it's sales, and you can just quickly identify areas in the country that have good sales and stuff. But what I want is sales and transactions. So let's bring this back in. Once you run this, that's it of the code. So let's bring this back in here, and it's going to give it a second to pop because it has to reload, or not reload the data, but it has to replot it and resize it, I'm sorry. So give it a second here. It's like the Jeopardy game. Alright, so eventually here, this thing will pop back up like you saw it earlier. Give it a second. There it goes. Alright, so you can see here, once you've done this and you've run it the way I showed you here, step by step, it's all there, you will come up with a map just like this. And you can see it's got a little bit of Bangladesh out here, Sri Lanka, but the main data points are all basically inside of India. And you've got, Chennai and Bihar and New Delhi and a bunch of places around here. Kathmandu's over here. They don't have a dot, so apparently there's no furniture part sales over there, possibly. But it's a really cool map and a really cool way to see your data. And it doesn't matter what area of the world you want to look at. So you can go and I could take India and make it China. I could make it Japan. I could make it anywhere that they have sales. It could be anywhere in the world that doesn't have sales, and you just wouldn't see any dots. That would be kind of useless unless you want to look at a nice map. But I could put Australia in there. I could zone in on cities also. So I could really take this 5 and make it a 15 and really zoom in on Chennai if I wanted to and see, well, just because it says sales there, maybe there's 8 or 10 different locations in Chennai that I want to look into, and I wouldn't see them on this map because it's more broad based. But now you can see exactly how I do this and how I did it with data from India, and you can do this quickly yourself. The data is right here, the code, and let me show it to you again. Here's the code. Let's bring it all the way out. Let's see if I can get it to show everything. There we go. So this is the exact code that I'm using. So it starts with the install packages, libraries, ggmap, tidyverse, deployer, read Excel. If you don't have them, just use this code right here for each one to bring them in, and then run them access them with the library code. Remember, with read Excel, you need to have the exact location because it will get lost and not find itself. It's annoying. It's just the way it is. So to avoid that, use this. Then you're going to create a data frame based on your data. The data I have is this map data, so let's take a look at it right here. You can find it doesn't have to be this exact data. You can use anything that has country, state, province, or city, and then some sales figures. Latitude and longitude are not necessary because we'll bring them in with the geo function that we use later. But in this case they were. But regardless, you can, and if you don't have country, you can run it by state and city. Just remember, you won't be able to filter it by country if you don't have that column. Okay, so you do that. We filtered it by India. Then we create 2 different data frames, one based off our data with city and state, so that we have the city and states. And it's kind of like doing a join SQL, right? So we have this data frame would be a table, this would be a table, right, in SQL, and we've got this one we'll have the latitude and longitude in it because we pulled it through this geocode function right here, and we need that in this one. So we're kind of like joining it, and what we're doing is we're combining them, and it will combine them, match them up by province and state, and fill it based on that. Next, and that's what we're doing right here. This one is the cbind where it does that based on that. Next, right here, we create 2 new columns, okay, for sales and transactions. Then we fill those with the data right here. So we filled it. Is it going to be blue, red, or orange? And is it going to be 1, 3, 6, or 9? Okay, this one just has one more if else in it than this one does because we're doing 4. So you need to have 3 because the last one you don't need to have an if else, then 4 because it's either this or this. And that's it. If you want to have an error message, you could put error there. You could do another one and put error if you wanted to, if you had some nulls or something like that in there. We don't have any nulls in this data. If we did, that's probably what we would do to find and then deal with those. We'd have to fill them or remove them or figure a way around it. Okay, and then down below is this one. This is where you run it and you create your map. Okay, so it's very simple. You just go through those steps, build your columns, and run your map. And then once you're done, you have that beautiful map that I've shown you earlier. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Please take a moment to subscribe and like if you haven't already done that. And also be sure and comment. Leave me your comments. Let me know. This video right here is based on user comments. So or comments or messaging me or emailing me and letting me know, hey, I would like to see it for this set of data, which is exactly what we did. Some people in India wanted to see the other side of the world done. So that's what we did here. And now you can see your data for India, which is really cool, I think. This is a wonderful way to graph and map your data and show it. If you're doing data analysis or data science, it's a great way to add this to your projects, to your end output, your reports, and show people, okay, here's the exact, map of your data. with two different variables, and it shows them a story. And you can see from this the video or the image that you can see there's areas that will have more sales than others, and might be something you want to look into. Okay, but again, thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful. Please subscribe and like, and have a great day.